Have Kemal and Noor here from Adopting Bitcoin Conference in El Salvador and Galoy. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thanks, you guys, for joining me to talk about the celebration that's coming up in November.
Hey, thanks
Welcome.
for having us.
Heck yeah.
Excited
So,
to be here.
how's it going? How's the prep going? What's happening?
I would say it's going pretty good. It's going great, actually. Like we can see it approaching really fast. I think we're feeding off of everybody's excitement as well to come down here and be in El Salvador and experience Bitcoin country for a lot of them for the first time, and hopefully for some also the second time, since if they were there last year. Lots of exciting things happening this year. Lots of new additions. Amazing lineup of speakers. Like Kamal and I think couldn't be happier. I mean, it's going pretty well. What do you think, Kamal?
Yeah, it's only 39 days left. So, yeah, not too long. A little over a month, and yeah, I can feel the tickling in my body that I had when I was in Bitcoin Beach and had Bitcoin Beach sand between my toes and the beer in my hand and a couple of Bitcoiners around me. So I'm looking forward to repeat that. It's getting a little bit cold here in Istanbul, and the weather is a little bit nicer in El Salvador. So yeah, I'm
I
looking
confirm.
forward to it.
I can confirm the weather is really nice here. So
Oh my gosh, it's so excited. So this is going to be my first time getting to come down to El Salvador. And so I was supposed to come last year and had some health family issue stuff. And so I'm like, pray we get to still come. And so you guys, so what's on the lineup? Tell everybody here who's listening, like what's going to be happening at Adopting Bitcoin. I'll pull the screen up for everybody.
Oh, it's going to be a get together of Bitcoiners from around the world, from all disciplines, from the whole spectrum of Bitcoin disciplines, ranging from cryptography to protocol to economics to philosophy to regulation to anything. I mean, money touches just about any area of life, and there's going to be amazing people from all walks of life, from all over the planet, getting together. I've tried to count probably over 30 countries, and we have over 120 speakers already. It's going to be 2 tracks with economics track. It's going to be a technology track on the dev track. We'll have companies presenting themselves, an unconference where people can put their heads together and work on ideas in classroom size for different, yeah, for as much as they want. And we have a fantastic venue in San Salvador that Noor probably can share a little bit more about. It's in the heart of the capital, next to the World Trade Center, and a very generous room. We have a pool where we can have a mining pool party.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's going to be, yeah, we're going to have a beer tap that will fill everybody's glasses with for a couple of sets. And yeah, it's going to be brilliant, I think.
My gosh, you guys, this line, I'm only halfway down all the speakers. I mean, this is going to be so incredible. Like, so you remember you were just mentioning that there's going to be some opportunities like in a classroom size. It sounds kind of like a hackathon. Is that like something of that nature to like
it's
get
more like
people together?
workshops. That's how you should think about them. They're more like workshops where people can share their knowledge and maybe also raise a question and hopefully have other more knowledgeable people join the room to answer some of these questions. So it's and they range in different kind of topics. It can be, like for instance, seed signer, or preparing one for how to build a seed signer,
Mhm.
or John Attack talking about how to inspect the Bitcoin core code, or how to create a marketing strategy for your Bitcoin business, or how to create memes, or it can be really a wide range of topics that can fit to any type of interest, of Bitcoiners from all walks of life.
Yeah, and there's definitely going to be also room for people that are not technical. So, I mean, we're far out of the phase where only developers can contribute to Bitcoin.
Mhm.
There's a lot of skills in need, be it from designers to people who know regulation, people who have experience running a business or starting a startup or
Yeah.
running a node or anything really. But since you mentioned that hackathon, there's actually also, we're going to cooperate with the awesome guys from bolt.fun.
Mm.
If you haven't heard them, check them out. They're bringing together developers for hackathons, mostly online. But for this season, they have planned something really cool. So there's gonna be an international hackathon taking place at multiple conferences. So it's going to be at the Bitcoin conference in Amsterdam. It's going to be at the Plan B event in Lugano. And it's also going to be at Adopting Bitcoin in San Salvador. And so we are participating in this. And yeah, there will be um, people participating in this hackathon and showcasing their project on the workshops on the unconference track. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of stuff that's happening. Definitely.
Okay, so what would you suggest for some people who are coming for the first time? What would be some good suggestions for folks who are like, "Yeah."
I think for me it would be don't stay for at least 1 week more after the conference. I think that would be my the top of my suggestion, because El Salvador is a beautiful country. It's like literally a hidden gem in terms of what you could do, the different things that you can discover, and it's tiny but it's so rich with different activities. So that would be something I would highly recommend to people. Just stay another week.
And so like so you're in El Zonte right now, right, Noor?
Correct.
And
Because we're
so
here tonight. So yeah.
how did you guys get involved with this project here in El Salvador? So I'd love to hear both of your backstory and how you got involved with adopting Bitcoin.
Kamal, you should start.
Yeah, sure. Before I go, I want to give a recommendation too.
Yeah.
So I think like first time visitors, they should really think plan out well what they want to participate in and where their interest lies. Because one thing I can promise them, no matter how smart they behave, they will miss something, and because there's just so much things going to be going on at the conference. And one tip, I think, the main stages will be recorded, so and the workshops, like you don't get a chance to do one of those too often. So that would be my tip. So look for the workshop stages and get together with smart Bitcoiners into a room and work on something and stop being and become active. Like
Yeah.
Bitcoin lives from the participation of all of us.
I think
Um,
this is a really good point, because I think one of the companies presenting on the solution stage this year, the founders actually met at Adopting Bitcoin last year. And
No
so
yeah,
way.
yeah, so that's not something you can do just watching the live streaming or the recording online. You can definitely do that later if you missed the talk, because you're definitely going to be missing talks during the event. But
Mhm.
like literally being surrounded by Bitcoiners from all over the world in El Salvador, it just has a different type of energy, and you kind of the connection that you can create can really change the course of what you'll be doing for the next year. So
Yeah, that's such great like a great piece of advice, because a lot of people think like, "Oh, I have to go to the main stage and see the big stuff," and you're so right. Like the juiciness of any event is like connecting with other people, and then if you get to do it with, something that's, activating, and who knows, you get to meet your new business partner or your new best friend or your Bitcoin
yeah,
bestie, That's awesome. Well, okay, so then so right straight after the conference, people have an opportunity to go to El Zonte. Is it that last night on, I think it's 17th? Is that right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then and everything's going to be like kind of listed on the website. I know you guys we have a Telegram channel, right, for uh the conference, so people can get on that. can you guys, yeah, tell me, both of you guys. So Noor, you also are a contributor to Bitcoin Arabic, and you're
Yeah.
in Turkey, Kamal. So how did you guys get involved with all of this? And I'd just love to hear all the overlap.
Yeah, so that was the original question. I almost forgot it. So, yeah, I think my journey with El Salvador and adopting Bitcoin started um, shortly after the announcement, when my friend Moritz Wietersheim from Spectre wallet, that you may know, fantastic desktop wallet. Everyone should check it out. They just joined the Swan Bitcoin team.
Mhm.
And yeah, I know him from Munich, from the Munich Bitcoin meetup. And he was one of the first Bitcoiners on the ground in El Salvador to check out after the announcement what was actually going on, because it was such a short amount of time that the Salvadorans had to actually comply with the law, you know? So it
Yeah.
was in August in 2021. And I did an interview with him for a German podcast called 21, where I'm occasionally participating and doing interviews. So I had him on the ground in El Salvador, and Esteban from Ibex Mercado, a Guatemalan Bitcoin company that is also doing merchant solutions and Lightning payments. And I interviewed them. Esteban is also, funny enough, he was a German speaker like I am, because I was born and raised in Germany.
Mm.
And we talked about it, and they told me everything about El Salvador, how the situation is, how very few people actually have a clue what's going on, and how they're going to react to the Bitcoin law, and how excited they were, and how they think everything will develop, and what they think like needs to happen now. At that time, the idea for adopting Bitcoin didn't even exist. But shortly after, Moritz, together with our CEO at Galoy, Nicola Berti, who was also on the ground, because he tailored the Bitcoin Beach wallet to the needs of the community in Bitcoin Beach in El Zonte, where everything basically had its beginning. Um, he put his those two put their heads together and thought, hey guys, we need to have a Bitcoin conference in El Salvador. Like, if this is going to be Bitcoin country, like, there needs to be a Bitcoin conference here, and people need to, and Bitcoiners need to come from all over the world, and and yeah, both learn from the Salvadoran people and their journey to adopting Bitcoin, and also teach and bring their knowledge, because there's like a huge need now all of a sudden. And so that's how it started. And Moritz basically connected me with Nicola, and that's how I got involved. And I was obviously like immediately like, oh my God, this is amazing. Let's do this. Yeah, so that's how I joined, and maybe Noor can tell her story.
Yeah. And then I saw the announcement of the conference on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is something I can help with." So I reached out to Nicholas and Chris, the co-hosts of the conference, and I told them, "Hey, I'd love to work on a Bitcoin project," and so I met up with them a couple of times, and then Chris was like, "Okay, yeah, we do need help, but we need somebody on the ground in El Salvador, and we need them next week to be there." Because the conference is in a month and a half and we still have a lot of things to figure out there and we have no one there. So I packed my stuff. I was in Canada, Montreal, packed my stuff and moved down here. And I've been here ever since, which is crazy. And then I started working with Galoy as well because I loved it. I mean, you can't there's just a good quality of life here. Lots of Bitcoiners all the time, and yeah. And then we decided to do the conference again, and we decided to do it again in El Salvador just to be sure to kind of bring back, because you can only accomplish so much in 3 months, right? The conference actually happened a month and a half after the law went into effect, and so there's still a lot to learn about this experience, about how things are advancing here, and then Salvadorans are also more thirsty to learn about Bitcoin this year as well. Now that they're more familiar with it, now that they have interacted with a lot more Bitcoiners, So we kind of had to do it here again. Like we had the responsibility to do it here again. So, so yeah, so here I am in Alzante, which is great.
And
Yeah.
how long have you guys been Bitcoiners before, getting involved with this? Have you guys been involved in Bitcoin for a long time?
Kamal, go ahead.
I mean, like everyone, I heard about Bitcoin early on, maybe, but it took a couple of times. Probably the
Yeah.
first time I heard about it was like 2013, but I didn't really look too much into it. And then a couple of touch points later, I think in 2016, I looked a little bit more into it, and then I found out about the meetup that we had in Munich, which is actually one of the oldest Bitcoin meetups since 2010. So I discovered them only in 2017, and then there was a bull run, and when the price goes up and you're already looking into it, then that incentivizes you to look a little bit more into it. And and that's how it went. And I consider myself very fortunate to have gotten into it through a rather technical community, and especially also like in Germany, we have a pretty good maker scene and awesome Bitcoiners who have been around early on. Especially a shout out to the Fulmo guys from Berlin who have been doing the Lightning Hack Days. And there was also a Lightning Hack Day in Munich, which I participated in and met all the developers and
Wow.
saw. Like there were like Rene Pickard was there, Matt Corallo was there were Bitcoin Core developers, Peter McCormack dropped by, Saifuddin was there, and it was just a hack space. People, like, nobody was shilling anything. Everyone was talking more about caveats, about how, instead of like how bullish they are, and how much work needs to be done and what needs to be solved and how, and disclaimers, hashtag lightning reckless. And that was basically the time I thought, man, these people are really smart and they're really dedicated. They are mission driven. They're not here for their personal gain. They actually want to fix the money, not just for themselves, but for everyone, because there is a lot to fix. And these are the people working on it. And I basically verified that Bitcoin is not just some fad, and as much as I can with my tools, and being at these events really helped me. So when the opportunity arose that I could actually contribute from my experiences and have other people see what I saw, that was like, okay, well, I have to do it. I'm in. This message needs to spread. People need to get involved, progress from just a bystander to someone who's participating, because Bitcoin has no central planning. It just lives by the contributions of all of us. And I consider myself very fortunate to now be putting this up together with Noor and having such a good feedback on it, and Bitcoin Core developers reaching out to speak, and amazing developers, and from all walks of life. I mean, we have quite a nice program, and it's not just Noor's and my contribution or Galoy's or our sponsors. I think I need also to mention that every speaker, we're not paying any speaking fees to any of the speakers. There's also no pay to play. So everyone is coming and contributing because they believe that El Salvador is a big chance, not only for El Salvador, but also for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ecosystem. And if we get this right, then we make a big leap towards fixing the money and fixing the world.
I love it. And so all of the funds raised from the event are going to go towards education. That's correct?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's important to keep in mind that this event is not for profit, and if for us to do it again in El Salvador was to primarily help help educate the educators and help learn as well from the experience here in El Salvador to see what kind of things need to be developed, improved on, and so that's sort of why we're doing it here. And the since it is non for profit, then what other way to contribute back to El Salvador than by giving the money or whatever extra we make, whatever revenue we make, to a local educational initiative that will be able to continue the work, because you can only do so much in 3 days, right? So it is important to have that continuity, and hopefully we'll reach out this year and be able to donate significant amounts.
Mhm. I love it. And so Nora, what's your background? Like, how did you get involved in Bitcoin? Like, what was your aha moment?
um, for me, it was so my previous work was I used to run a. I don't know if you're familiar with the term of a startup incubator. So I started one at university, and one of the earliest companies that we helped was a Bitcoin wallet, but I had no idea what the hell these guys were talking about. I had no kind of understanding of what is Bitcoin, what the hell is a wallet, why do you need a wallet, the fuck is all this, right? And so for 3 months straight, I was listening to this guy talk about it every week, and it was bringing me more confusion than anything else. And then a few years later, I met I made another friend, and he kind of explained it to me in a very different way, and it was very like he related it to me in a very personal way as well, and then he offered to kind of show me how it works, and really like held my hand to kind of walk me through it, and it was like we've lost touch since, because I don't know what he's doing in life right now, but I think I owe it to him in a lot of ways why I'm into Bitcoin, because he was really my mentor at the time, and I was lucky also to have right next to my house in Montreal the Bitcoin embassy, where Francis Pulio used to hang out all the time, and a lot of Montreal Bitcoiners used to hang out all the time, and they were hosting a lot of meetups. And when I would go there, I'm not technical, right? So I would be like, oh my god, these guys are too smart for me. I need to get the hell out. But they were always super nice, always like very, and again, like Kamal was saying, super mission driven, super knowledgeable, and there were, and it's absolutely true what Kamal was saying. I think what made me realize that this is for real is seeing their passion and how mission driven they are. And I only got involved, very, very recently with primarily through the work that we started doing with Bitcoin Arabic, which was very simple, right? It's like, okay, now we have a lot of content about Bitcoin in primarily in English. We come from a country where, or a place in the world where English is not the primary language, so we need to make that information accessible. So we started translating, put it on a website, and now we have a lot of different initiatives that are popping up. It's just about putting out the signal, right? And then more people start joining. Podcasts are being created. We have a Telegram group of node runners. I think there is now about 30 of them, and a huge Telegram group with people just walking in, asking questions about from what is Bitcoin to how to run a node, and all kinds of questions. And you have super knowledgeable guys answering them in Arabic, and all the information is available, which is great. And so the reason why, and that kind of led me towards El Salvador naturally, because I was watching Bitcoin Beach, and I was like, these guys, are doing something really amazing. And that's how I found out about Lightning for the first time as well. And the work that Galoy has done there, but I wasn't really kind of familiar with Lightning. And still, I mean, even though I work with Galoy, I'm still learning a lot. I'm still kind of there's a lot to be learned, and yeah, and now it's sort of kind of like a dream position to be in, of being given the responsibility of organizing this conference. It's not something I take lightly, because we see it. We're not necessarily the organizer; we're just the stewards of the community at this point, right? So we want everybody to feel as part of this as possible. Even though we're talking about the conference, but I think really the people that need to be talked about are all the speakers that are going to be volunteering their time to be there, all the attendees that will also be helping, hopefully, a Salvadorian that is sitting next to them, that could be a university professor, or could be, a government official that is still wrapping their head around it. So this kind of mix is what's important, and I mean, yeah, I'll speak for Kamal. We're super fortunate to be doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are definitely, well, it sounds like you're both mission driven with your hearts in the right place, and you see this as a tool for a new world, like, for the hope and the possibility that Bitcoin represents
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
everybody to participate if they choose. And that's what's, I think, so magical and what touched my heart about Bitcoin, you
Yeah.
know.
And it's important because, in El Salvador, yeah, I mean, they've taken the right decision, but it did get Bitcoin politicized a little bit, and so having these kind of events is important to show the Salvadorians that Bitcoin doesn't care about politics. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It will always do its own thing. So you either it's not you either. Please come and let us show you.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I have so many questions for you guys. I want to, Noor, I want to circle back if you don't mind, because I think this is an important question for all of us who have conversations with new Bitcoiners or people who are not Bitcoiners yet. And you had said you had been exposed to Bitcoin a couple times, but you didn't really get it. But then your friend kind of shared with you a more personal way to understand it. Would you mind sharing what that is or was?
Um,
You don't have to if it doesn't feel right, but
no, sure. I can keep it very brief. Like so I used to live in Libya back in the days, and my mom was still there in 2011. And I think the first time I held my own seed phrase was when it clicked, because the what happened is that she needed to leave everything behind and get the hell out, get to Canada as fast as possible, because there was, war, chaos, everything. And I think that's what made it click, is like, no matter where she would be, Bitcoin would be her tool, right? Would have been her tool. And that's what made it kind of click in my mind. It's just that being self-sovereign is something super important for a lot of people in the world. And I think a lot of it may not be possible for a lot of them. That's why I think the work Galoy is doing is super important. Like community bank models are going to be very life changing for a lot of people. And so yeah, so that's how it made it click. That was my aha moment.
That was my aha moment too. When I was listening to one of Alex Gladstein's podcasts, and he was talking about a woman who was escaping, where she was living, and she got everything robbed from her, but she had her seed phrase and she was able to start her life again. And I was like, oh, okay, I have to learn all I can about this. This is magic. This is the most magical thing in the world, like, and music, of course. Oh. But it is, it's like this powerful tool. And I feel like this is such a mission that we all get to be on in our own ways with our own gifts to add. I'm not a developer either. I'm not a cryptographer. I'm not, a millionaire or anything. I'm just Val. But I know that this is like, okay, I got to get the word out here on this stuff. So, well, I'm glad that we're all on this mission. How's it been going with, what have been the biggest obstacles that you've seen in El Salvador on the ground with adoption and education?
Um, I think the first hurdle, and I've touched on it a little bit earlier, is that Bitcoin got politicized a little bit here in El Salvador, and obviously, if not everybody has to be in agreement with the government, and so sometimes they associate something that wrongfully they associate it to a specific government without necessarily thinking too much through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first hurdle, is just getting that two things separated, right? And then obviously the second thing is educations. How do you bring knowledge about Bitcoin to 6 million people as fast as possible? And that's something that people are still working on, and I kind of I have a lot of respect to the grassroots initiatives that are popping up, like Mi Primer Bitcoin, that are apparently doing a class in what used to be one of the most dangerous areas of El Salvador for adults this weekend, and initiatives like Torogos, for instance, as well, that are bringing education to developers in El Salvador so that they can benefit from the new economy that is being built here. And obviously Hope House, Bitcoin Beach, that are constantly going. Like I get a call from Chimberry, and it's super cool. So when you live here, sometimes you get a call from Chimberry. He's like, "Hey, we're going to this town tomorrow to give a class to 100 students. Can you come?"
You're like, yeah.
Like, hell yeah, I'm coming. So these kind of initiatives are super important, and I think what they're doing that is really smart is that they're starting with with teenagers, right? So they're trying to, as much as possible, educate teenagers, because these are the do's and dudettes that will show their parents and grandparents how to use a Bitcoin wallet, right? In a really simple way. And it's working slowly but surely, right? So you can't necessarily imagine that in a year or less so you're gonna have 100% adoption, because up until last year a lot of people in El Salvador have never heard of Bitcoin before, right? And so it will take for them some time and maybe another bull run for them to really catch on. I'm excited for the next bull run, to be honest, to see what's gonna happen here.
Me too. So are the enthusiasm of the young people, do they get it? Are they understanding it from, the big picture?
Not the big, I can't say that they're understanding it from the big picture for all of them, unless they've done the classes with
Mhm.
either Hope House or Remember Bitcoin, etc. But when you try to show them like how to use a Lightning wallet, for instance, they're a lot more open, right? They're all their ears and eyes are all open to kind of and they're letting you kind of play around with their phone to show you how to use it properly, and that's always super cool to do. It's always fun to do.
I think that's because they're not politicized yet. They're
Yeah.
children, right? They don't care about, like, there's I'm talking to Nora almost every day since
Yeah,
she's been in El Salvador. So
yeah,
even though I'm not there, I know from her. So she's telling me that, and it makes a lot of sense that, I mean, young people, yeah, they are not politicized yet,
yeah,
whereas like adults, they might maybe not like the government or this government or government in general, and then just yeah, reject Bitcoin altogether
yeah,
because they reject something else, you know. Whereas kids are not like that generally. Like, even if I look at my daughter, she's like maniac for my smartphone because she's only 10 months old, you know.
Oh
But
my God. Get me.
um,
I know.
yeah, she wants to lick it all over to pull it from her hands. I mean, kids love technology, and Bitcoin is just the best technology. Money is a technology, and
yeah,
they're interested in it, and it just works. If it just works for them, all of the stupid stuff that adults have in their heads, it's not gonna
yeah,
matter, because what remains will be, hey, does it work for me? How many people do I have to ask for permission
yeah,
so it can work for me? Do I have to actually have an address for myself,
yeah,
or can I just download an app from the app store and install it on my phone, you know, without asking anybody for permission? And can I do transactions that someone may not like? Oh yeah, I can. Amazing. Bitcoin is great. Like, I don't need to know anything about it. No, nobody can tell me anything about Bitcoin that I would stop using it, because it's so useful to me. Like, this is going to be the future in El Salvador, um, 10 years from now,
yeah,
and they will be looking back and laughing about those people that said, I don't know, Bitcoin is the devil or whatever. Or
I mean, it's also part of their history, right? So you get the young people didn't live through the dollarization. A lot of the older generation have, and they've
Mm,
seen their savings getting cut. Apparently, there was like chaos because they changed it for overnight, and everybody couldn't figure out the exchange rate between the old currency and the dollar, and it was just a headache for them for such a long time. And then they wake up one day and realize that who this actually benefited, and it didn't benefit them. It benefited a certain level of the society, and so they are very apprehensive about new currency change, right? And I think what they've done in a smart way is that they didn't necessarily slash the dollar. They introduced a new currency, even though it's mandatory to use. No one actually forces anyone to accept it. So it's very much people are on board. They're getting onboarded, or they're starting to use it because they're convinced, which is really really cool to see.
I
I
think
think
that's so
they've been
cool.
exposed to Bitcoin, and that's a good thing. Like government should
Yeah.
expose their people to good things, and Bitcoin is good, and the Salvadoran people are light years ahead of the rest of the world because they have been exposed to Bitcoin now. Now everyone needs a couple of touch points. Hey, if my government had told me in 2011 that I should look into Bitcoin, I would like be kissing their feet, like, and that's what the youth of El Salvador will do 10 years from now.
Yay, President Bukele. So I know it's kind of that thing of though, like we want to distance Bitcoin from politics, but it seems like it had to be made there in El Salvador from a political move. But now it's like, I don't know. It's like taking medicine, right? As a kid, I have two teenagers, right? You kind of got to be like, this will be for your own good. You'll thank me later, you know, kind of thing. And hopefully, I mean, I believe in Bitcoin for the world's future for sure. So I think it's definitely going to be around. How has it been? Like, what's been uh the reception with the Arabic community? Like you said, you've got some folks there. Like, what are some of the questions, the obstacles that get thrown up? What are some of the like? Yeah, I totally get this. Like, what's the two sides of the coin there?
I mean, it's a good question. It's a different scenario over there because it's not there's no stability for youth there, and so there's still a lot of so I'll be perfectly honest. Sadly, the shitcoiners have a lot more money, and so oftentimes they take over a specific market and they try to take advantage of a situation where there is a big number of young people that are having a hard time finding a job, and they sell them false hopes of get rich quick schemes, right? And
Mhm.
so there's a lot of people that got burned through that. And so when they hear about Bitcoin, they're like, no, F this. I'm not getting involved in that again, right? And so what we're trying to do as much as possible is to kind of build a base of solid, principled Bitcoiners that understand what it is, and that can teach others. Again, it's always in preparation of the bull run, so that once these scammers start, going around trying to get people to give them money to invest in, whatever shitcoin, we already have an army that can protect these people in a way and give them the right information and protect the right information. So that's sort of where we're at the moment. So we're still very much in the early phases, right? So we're still very much, helping people understand and wrap their head around Bitcoin. It's not easy because it's something that you still need to dedicate a lot of time to, especially at the beginning, which is time that unfortunately a lot of people in that region don't have necessarily, because they have to work, because they have to do, take care of their family, take care of, life, or survive in certain cases. And so that's sort of how we're doing it. And we've tried different ways, right? So one of the things that we've tried as well is to get them to understand that it is money and you can get paid no matter where you are by anyone. And so we try to kind of help them through giving them some, some work through the website directly, like, can you write an article about this, or can you translate this piece for us? And they get paid a little bit, and then hopefully that will make them, that will get them to click. That it's not just, you don't necessarily have to be, I don't know what you think. So sometimes I think about it. I find myself wondering, like, do you really need to understand everything, or do you just need to understand that this is money, all right, and you can use it anywhere, no matter where you are. It's that simple, right? And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. How this is just I could have you guys on for like 5 hours and still not have enough time to ask you all these questions, but I won't take up all of that time of yours because I know you're super busy planning a monster conference. Um, um,
We're happy to be here, Valerie.
Yeah.
Thanks
I'm
for
so
having
happy
us.
to see you guys, and I can't wait
It's
to give you
okay.
all the
It's
big
okay.
hugs. It's going to be so great. Um, how has Bitcoin changed your relationships in your life? Like kind of before and after Bitcoin? Like, cause I know for me, I have a lot of like, whoa, before Bitcoin people and now my after Bitcoin people. And so how has it changed your relationships in life?
I think you just said it really right. Like there is before Bitcoin, before you get Bitcoin friends, and after in a way. And it's wild, actually, if you think about it. But Bitcoin does something to people. So I've I live in Turkey, and my parents are Turkish, but I was not exposed to the inflation of the Turkish lira,
Hmm.
and at least not until now. Now that I moved to Istanbul, and now I'm experiencing a crazy inflationary period here again. And I've read also about the theory of what it does from the Austrian school, like it creates high time preference people that very logically are spending the money before it loses its value and purchasing stuff and consuming stuff. So it actually accelerates consumerism, and it also accelerates a certain hedonistic lifestyle, where and a nihilism, where you
Mhm.
don't where you think like, well, nothing is in your control anyway. Like no matter, like something is rigged, the game is rigged,
Yeah.
and something is wrong, but you can't put your finger on it. And yeah, I mean, what is wrong is that the money is broken, and that it's been designed that way, and that it's causing pain and inhibiting even mankind to really, yeah, unchain its potential, because constantly people are being stolen from. And that's just a deep injustice in everyone. Like I know everyone knows people, and I know it from myself. Something's been wrong. There's even that meme, like a splinter in your mind, and you don't know what it is, and it makes perfect sense to me, both in theory and from my observations, that bad money, soft money, money that can be infinitely printed, and just, yeah, is is bad for civilization. And because you need hard money to be able to save, to plan ahead into the future, and load your time preference, and not behave like an instant gratification monkey. Like
Mhm.
humans are a little bit like quite sophisticated animals, right? Not just basic animals that are just um, consuming on every tick. I mean, and we didn't have good money for quite a long time. So I've been raised in Europe in more or less peace, but that peace had a big price, and it seems. And I think like it's time for fixing the money, man. It's just so obvious to me that people that are being stolen from, um, they're just gonna hold a grudge against everyone around them and be less willing to cooperate. and will be trying to steal from others, which is a symptom of eroding morals. And so it's, I think I see, like, in my mind at least, I see a very clear connection between morals of individuals and in a society, and 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 the money, and not being stolen from. Like, if we can get to a place where people are simply not being stolen from anymore, I think, yeah, it's going to be a better place for all of us. And yeah, I think everyone should be able to agree on that. Actually, like, I don't even understand why it's so contentious.
I know, I don't think people understand, and when I started learning, I'm only like a year and a half new into Bitcoin and this whole world, but like once it clicked, I got it, and it was that story from Alex, and it was also just learning about the money printing that happened during COVID and just how fast it was in such a short period of time, and when I was just like, you mean like we lost all that purchasing power so quickly because they just kept going, here's another zero on the end of this little ledger that a couple people control. It was like, that's actual stealing. Like that those couple bucks I had in the bank, I can't buy the same amount of things, and that was such an aha moment for me too. And I've done business in my life. I'm not like super rock star or anything, but I used to think I kind of knew a little something. But then I found Bitcoin. I was like, oh shit, I don't know anything. I have to learn everything all over again. Thank God I
Yes.
did, but it was like, and now I feel like the world's on fire and we have a bucket of water, and I want to go tell everybody, like, here, spread the bucket of water on the fire everywhere so that your family doesn't get hurt, and and that we can have a nice world for each other. And sometimes I feel like my family thinks I'm crazy because none of them are Bitcoiners yet. And this is what I ask you about your relationships too, because I think it is, there's that bridge of before and after. And a lot of times when you're kind of crossing it alone, we're not alone as Bitcoiners, that as we
Yeah.
know now, but like going from the old world to the new world thinking, it can be a little lonely. How do you, so Noor, how about you? Like, how has it changed your relationships? And I mean, how is it?
I'm laughing because I was recently at my brother's wedding, and there was a lot of our old friends there. And so, I mean, I really don't think it has, but what I find it funny is that a lot of them weren't surprised that I'm into Bitcoin now, because they always thought that I'm into weird stuff anyway. So, so none of them were surprised about that. They were just more curious about it. So I think that that's good. Like, for me in general, like, I think I don't try to force it down people's throat. I make it known that this is important. And if they're curious to know more, then we can discuss it. Right. And so that's how I usually approach it with my old friends. And so, and because they know me, they know that, if we're having a conversation, it's probably going to be an interesting one at least, right? So they're not bored having talking to me. That's why they're my friends. And in terms of new relationships, I think, just being involved in the Bitcoin space now, the type of people are just so much more eclectic, interesting, from all walks of life that you meet, that have different stories and different perspectives and different knowledge to share. That is, and you can feel like, because they have as Kamal was saying, because most of them have a low time for friends, like, you can really feel like you're building a long-term relationship with them as well. Like, this is not something that, will just dissipate after the conference. Like, you can call them anytime. And this is something actually Kamal made me realize at some point. He's like, they're our friends. Stop treating them like they're some distant thing. And when I started thinking about them this way, it really did change how I relate to a lot of them. And it's it's not that much different from before, because I think a lot of it will be ultimately related to somebody's nature, but it's definitely giving me at least a different perspective about, okay, do I want to be associated to people that are just thinking about the now, or the ones that want to build a better future? And I think because we're in this space, we do want to build another future. a different, better for all of us and our and the future generation. So having that network is really important. Just yeah. Also for sanity check. For sanity check.
Yay for that. But it does feel like we're all in this like rock band together, and we get to go do this project, and everybody's got their own instrument that they can play and contribute to the symphony. It's so cool to me, and everybody's invited. That's the coolest part too, right? And it does feel really, it's definitely given me a lot of hope, and
No.
just more faith in humanity, and I mean, I've always believed in the goodness of people and the goodness of our souls, but I also understand that, we have these like forces that are out in the world that are greedy, and they're driven by, power over and not power up, and it and they've been manipulating us for so long, with the money. Now we have social media, and you think about like how children's brains are getting, developed differently than our brains were, because they're touching the screen every second. So that dopamine's going there. So their minds are not shaping in the way where they're thinking, they are thinking instant gratification. And it's literally reshaping the way that we're developing as people. And so I think it's really important that we have a real tool that can help us think differently and not just be subject to the whims of the advertisers and the big dollars that want to, get us in that short, instant gratification mindset. So it's like it's like Star Wars, it's the dark side and the light side, and yeah, Bitcoin. So it's so cool. Yeah, so don't give your child the phone yet, Kamal. Keep the phone away from her. It's crazy. Like we thought, I have my kids are teenagers now, and my ex-husband and I were both like, oh, we're not going to give them the phone. We're going to be like, they're going to eat granola
Right.
all day long, whatever. I was like, cool. Dora the Explorer, go watch that. And it just, that's what they love now, And so I was like, oh, I if I could have done one thing differently as a mom, I would have waited a lot longer to let them have smartphones,
No.
And the tablets and stuff. And so, not that you can't do it. It's just like, because
No.
it's so good and yummy as a kid. It's like candy for your brain,
No, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
dopamine.
absolutely.
They're getting
Yeah. And so I just, that's, ugh, we always
And
learn.
it's really difficult explaining your kid that they shouldn't have too much sugar. It just tastes so fucking good.
I know it's great. And French fries are
Daddy, why
delicious.
are you not giving? Yeah, French fries every day, all day. Seriously,
And let's not
it's
forget
difficult to
pizza.
explain. Like, it's yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Um, oh my gosh, this is so great. So what's the deal? When am I going to see you? Are we having a party? Am I going to DJ? Are we having some celebrations? It's a celebration. What are we doing? What are
All
we
of
doing
the
for some fun?
above, all of the above, please,
yes,
Valerie.
yes to all.
Yes
Uh,
to all.
yes to all. Yeah, we're obviously gonna have a party, man. Like we're not, we're not boring people.
No, not at all. Not even close.
There will be a party on day one, a cocktail with, outside near the pool. It's don't get like wild ideas about the pool. It's a tiny pool. It's more like anyway. It's a tub, really.
It's okay. It's going to be our tub.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the last
But
day in a zone, yeah,
first, I have to stop you. We have also for the speakers and for the volunteers and the sponsors and all the people that are contributing, we'll also have a day zero where we get together like we did last year,
yeah,
right? I mean, we don't have to be intransparent about that.
yeah,
We're gonna do that as well. But yeah, Nor, I just wanted to add the info about day
Thank
zero. So now you can talk about.
you. Ruined the surprise, Kamal.
Oh, did I? I know it's not a surprise. It's not a
No,
surprise.
no,
It
it's
was
not.
just not so public.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, then, do you guys need more volunteers? Like, should we get more people to contact y'all for volunteering?
100%. Yes, please. We need. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Should they get
Yes.
a hold of you
yes.
individually through Twitter or through the website? What's the best way?
They can reach out to either one of us. We're also going to be sharing a form for people to fill out so that they can sign up to volunteer to the event.
I think that would actually be the best if they could just hold out a little longer until we have a form on the website where they can
Okay,
apply for volunteering. So we'll ask for just a couple of questions, and we need quite we have a much bigger venue this year, so we need a couple more volunteers. And also we want like the volunteers not to work 48 hours, so we're going to have like a couple of shifts, so we need like more, so everyone really has some time also to
To enjoy the
dive into
conference.
the conference and yeah.
Yeah. So they're not. So just to explain, like the way we did it last year is every volunteer commits to working 4 hours a day, and then they get to enjoy the conference for the rest of the time.
cool.
And so we'll be doing that again this year. So you commit to a certain number of hours per day, and then the rest of the time is yours to do whatever you want to do with, right? So you want to catch up on a talk, etc. We tried as much as possible to also accommodate the timing preference of the volunteers. If there is specific talks that they want to catch and they don't want to be working at that time, that's also, an option that we've taken into consideration when assigning the tasks. Um, and then all we ask is for the person to be reliable, right? So if we ask you to do something and to be there at that time, please be there, because otherwise, it would be a shame to just give a free ticket to someone that is not showing up to their tasks.
We have a
Yeah.
conference to run.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, well, and hopefully the ethos and the ethics of people attending understand like we're Bitcoiners and we're all here to like make this awesome together. So um
Yeah.
I think that really says a lot too about our community. How do you guys have like a local are there a lot of local folks that do you think are going to be showing up? Are people excited in town?
Oh yes. So actually, we're going to have we're expecting quite a big amount of local Salvadorans, and part of the reason is that they're actually very nearby to the conference compared to most of the other attendees from all other countries who probably have to book air travel. So they're already there. But also for Salvadorans, since this is the first country that adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, and it's a big thing. We have a preferential price for the Salvadoran people, so they can get a ticket for $21, but they have to pay with Bitcoin. There is no other currency accepted, only Bitcoin for everyone,
Nice.
and that's a hoop and a requirement for everyone. But I'm confident that they'll manage, and all the talks will be translated to Spanish in real time, like it was last year, this year again, and yeah. Nor, did I forget something?
Um, no, I don't think you did.
I love it.
Awesome.
And there's some other satellite things going on afterwards, right? Like there, obviously we want to invite people to stay longer in El Salvador and explore. I think Lake Bitcoin, they're talking about doing some stuff in Guatemala. Did you guys hear about like that?
Right.
Yeah, Patrick Melder from
Mhm.
community leader in Bitcoin Lake is actually planning a bus trip after the conference to Panchajal and in Guatemala. And they are actually, there's a form circulating where people can sign up and say that they want to join that trip. Patrick is wants only people that have not been to Bitcoin Beach yet, because he thinks people should really go there first. So yeah, it's probably more for second timers. But that's one thing that's going on. And in advance of the conference, we also have a couple of tours, La Ruta de las Flores to Santa Ana volcano, to some Tamanique waterfalls. And so day trips only with Bitcoin travel groups that they can book with a local guide that's been vetted by our friend Jeremy, who is running Escape to El Salvador. You may know him on Twitter. Shout out to Jeremy. And yeah, you can pay those trips with Bitcoin as well, and climb up our volcano with Bitcoiners.
That's so cool. And so, okay, so can people find Jeremy on the website and the tours on adoptingbitcoin.org? Will there be
Yeah,
a link to that?
Jeremy is a speaker at Adopting Bitcoin, and if you go to his profile on the webpage, then there will be a link to Escape to El Salvador, his webpage, and the tours are on there.
Yeah, we'll be updating the FAQs as well, so that they're there very soon.
Okay, cool. And so Cafe Racer's asking, are you guys going to have YouTube coverage? Is it going to be live streamed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the both main stages are live streamed. The econ and dev stage tracks, they're live streamed. Yes.
Okay, cool. Good
Yeah,
question.
and we're working together with some nice solutions, and not yet to be announced because we have to work out the details. But yeah, there's going to be a live stream of the main stages, and we're trying to obviously they will be recorded as well, and we'll also record the solution stage. Basically, we're trying to record as much as possible, but one thing is not going to happen: the workshops won't be recorded. So the smart thing to do is, as I said in the beginning, to get into the workshops, into focus sessions, what you really care about, maybe where you have holes in your Bitcoin game, in your understanding. Maybe you don't know how to run a node, a Raspberry Blitz yet, or you don't know how to I don't know, swap out a channel with I don't know, something like that. Like my recommendation is to go after these because all of the rest you'll be able to watch from the comfort of your home anyway.
I love it. That's a great tips. Oh, this is so great. So, my brain just lost its thought. No, it
It's
didn't. I
okay.
got it. It came back. I'm really old, so it happens sometimes. They just fly away and then come back. What do you guys think? Like when I was in Miami this last, I think it was April for the conference, there was a ladies brunch. And so it was kind of just like a nice chill time for like the Bitcoin ladies to get together. And because there's not as many of us, it seems like, as the gentlemen. And obviously Bitcoin is for everyone, we know. But what do you guys think about, can we host a little, like, I don't know, ladies breakfast or something the day before, after, or I don't know. I can help organize that, Noor, if you'd like.
Please, if you
Help.
want to do that, go ahead.
You're like, you do it. Off with your head. Off with your sunshine. Go ahead.
What I mean is that you're
Go.
I don't have any idea of. I mean, there is. We do have quite a few lady speakers.
Well, maybe just if we can talk offline, but maybe if you guys can just give me a suggestion for maybe a little restaurant or a cafe or something that we could do something at, then I can just put together like a little mini thing. So,
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great. But I get it. I wasn't expecting you to organize it.
I'll help you find the proper space, or we can.
Cool. Yeah, just a suggestion of places maybe we can do something. But yeah,
Someone
this is
should
great.
also do like a boys meetup,
A
like
boys meetup.
just girls
I think
excluded.
while the breakfast is happening, the conference will turn eventually into a boys meetup anyway.
I know, right?
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
we're
so
we're
sure.
automatically giving it to you by us leaving, doing our thing for a minute. Oh my gosh. I know when my ex-husband and I, we used to we had another couple and they had the same age kids, and we'd have like, okay, the dads would go take the kids and the moms would have, mom's time, and then vice versa, we would switch. And so it was always, I mean, we would do all stuff together. So it
You
was
know,
always nice to,
what would be cool, what would also be cool to have is a kids date, a play date
oh my
for
gosh.
all the Bitcoiners coming with their kids, because there's quite a few. It could be awesome to do something around that.
I wonder who might be, I'm just thinking, I'll look at the list again because I know, like, yeah. That would be cool. It's just a matter of who's going to manage that. As maybe, what about your friend Jeremy? Could he go take the kids on like a little adventure while the parents are doing the conference or something?
Let's. I don't know if Jeremy. I don't know if I would trust my kid with Jeremy. I'm just.
You're like, maybe someone else.
I'm kidding. He's got a wonderful son. I haven't met his son actually, but he seems to have a pretty decent handle on his own son. So,
Right
but
on.
they, yeah, let's brainstorm, Valerie.
Okay. Yeah, we'll brainstorm offline. It'll be fun. And so, okay, you guys, any last things that you want to share with everybody here about the conference or yourself or Bitcoin or love, life, freedom? Woo!
I think I want to send out a shout out to my 21 colleagues at Galoy. Well, 20, Noor is here. It's really great working with all of you together. And also to our sponsors, and especially to Bitfinex, who is our main sponsor this year. So thanks, guys. Really cool Bitcoiners. They are very mission driven as well, like us, and they understood what we're doing, and they joined this conference as our partners. So we're very stoked about that, because without them and all of the other sponsors, this wouldn't be possible. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Love it. That's great, you guys. Well, thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see you two in person. And I really, really appreciate you taking so much time to chat. And if there's anything else I can do, obviously, I'm kind of small potatoes. I'm not Peter McCormick, but I'm happy to obviously share and put everything out as much as possible. And I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and meet you and participate in the conference. It really touches my heart. So thank you so much, Noor and Kemal. It's really, really great to meet you.
It
Same
was a
here.
pleasure to meet you. Thanks,
Awesome.
thanks a lot, and see you in El Salvador at Bitcoin Beach.
Yay, it's going to be so great. All right, everybody, thanks again for tuning in to the Bitcoin Peace and Music Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Valerie B. Love. And until next time, peace, love, and aloha. Thanks, Kemal. Thanks, Noor. Woohoo.